Hello and welcome to QUOE Tips. My name is Quaylen. I am the creator behind everything QUOE, and QUOE Tips is a series where I share fiber arts tips and tricks in hopes that you can break the status when it comes to your craft. Today is the third in a series of 4 technique tutorials to create this mug rug right here. So what we're going to focus on is picking up stitches and knitting in the round. Before I start the tutorial, I want to say thank you to today's video sponsor, Clover Needlecraft, for providing all of the tools necessary to create this project. Everything will be listed in the description box below, where you can pick up the tools and the yarn necessary, and the tool links are affiliated, meaning that if you use my link, I will get a small portion of the proceeds and be able to continue funding my tutorials for you guys. And with all that being said, let's jump into the tutorial. So to pick up stitches in the round, I really love the Clover products for this certain technique that I'm about to show you, because it is so simple and it only really works with the Clover products. So what you need to pick up these stitches in the round is the Clover US size 7 Takumi needles with a 29-inch interchangeable cord. And the reason I prefer the Clover is because sometimes it's hard to pick up stitches in the round. And a little technique that I figured out is that the Tunisian crochet hook set is the exact same cord that they use for the knitting needles, meaning that the knitting needles and the Tunisian hooks can be used in tandem. So you're also going to need a size 7 or 4.5 millimeter crochet hook for the Tunisian interchangeables. Okay, so I'm going to take my yarn, and you will notice that I have a needle on one end and the hook on the other. So now I'm going to begin to actually pick up the stitches in the round. I'm going to start on a corner, and we're going to pick up 22 stitches. So there's 22 or 23 across and 46 down the length. So I'm going to show you how to do that now. We're inserting a row into the fabric, pulling through with that crochet hook. That's going to be our first stitch. Then we're going to go to the next stitch, pull through, and I'm serious guys, with the crochet hook it is so beyond easy to pick up stitches. It takes such a short amount of time compared to picking up with the knitting needles. That's why it's my special technique that I just stumbled across just playing around with my knitting needle and crochet hook sets, and it is really invaluable for time saving. See, I'm already, just by blabbing on, I'm already almost done with this side. Okay, let me count how many stitches we have. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 20. So we're going to pick up 2 more. Okay, so now we have our 20 stitches already picked up on one side. 22, excuse me. So I'm just going to pull that, get ready to pick up 22 stitches along the selvage edge. So for every 2 stitches here, I'm just going to pick up 1 stitch. Okay, let me see how many I have so far. 20, so 2 more again. Okay, I'm going to pick up the next 2 edges off of camera, and I will come back to you again when we're ready to continue. As you can see, I have finished picking up the stitches on the entire piece. So now I have this crochet hook that I have nothing to do with. So I'm just going to unscrew it and add on my new knitting needle and work with that. So each side has 22 stitches now picked up. So each side now, what we're going to do is knit 2, purl 2 on each side until the end, and the end you will end with a knit 2. So let's do that now. I'll do the first row or side on camera, and then the last 3 off of camera. So knit 2, purl 2, 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 and knit 2. So our first side is complete. Now we're going to move on and do the exact same thing to the other 3 sides. I will see you back here when that is done. The round is finished. That is our first round. We're going to be doing 4 more before binding off, okay? So for this round and all the other rounds now, we're going to knit 1, make 1 left, knit 1, and then continue in the established pattern with the purls and the knits. You're going to do that all the way until you reach the last knit 1 of that side. So there are 2 more knits on this side. If it helps you to visualize it, you can place 4 markers in the actual corner spaces right here. That'll focus. Place a stitch marker right here if you need it. So I'm going to knit 1, then there's 1 more knit on this last side. So I'm going to make 1 right, knit 1. Now we are on the next side. We're going to knit 1, make 1 left, and continue in the pattern until the end of this side. So basically on each side we're going to be increasing either a make 1 left or a make 1 right before the first, or before the excuse me, after the first stitch of the side and before the last stitch of the side. Also, this written instruction is available for free in the description below, where you can go get the written pattern for this. Okay, so there's just 1 more knit on this side. I'm going to pick up, make 1 right, knit 1, onto the next side. Knit one, make one left, knit one, continue in pattern. So I'm going to finish out this row or this round like that, and then I will finish out the 3 additional rounds in the same exact pattern formulation. So whenever I return, we will be binding off and finishing this section of the project. Now we have finished our 5 rounds of the border. We are ready to bind off. And to bind off, we're going to do it in pattern. So we're going to knit all the knits and purl all the purls. As well as we also want to add in our make one lefts and make one rights on the corners before binding it off. It's just going to add just a little bit more stretch, and that's going to help whenever we're blocking it. So right now I finished that corner little piece to bind off. Now there are 2 purls, so I'm going to purl and bind off. And continue that all the way around the entire project. I am binding off the last stitch. Now that that is done, just going to snip it, pull it through. And now all you have to do is weave in the ends, and you can finish it off like this, or if you want, you can meet me back here next week and I will go over how to add tassels. At this point is when you're going to want to block your fabric, so go ahead and do that after you have weaved in your ends. Until next time, I will see you soon, and break the status.